Hello, and thank you for joining me on today's training video about the Magoo support portal. My name is John McGuire, and I'll be taking you through today's training. As you can see, we're currently at the support portal. If you haven't seen it yet, please navigate in your browser to support.magoo.tech. Now, a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started is your support account and your portal is directly tied to the email address that we have on file for you. Now, this means the emails that you receive correspondence, ticket responses from, that is the email address that you'll need to log in to your account. If you have multiple companies with us, it's best to have different email addresses for each company so that you can make sure that you're actually accessing the correct information for the correct company by utilizing that email address specifically for that company. Now, when you navigate to support.magoo.tech, you'll notice that you have a couple of login options here. If you have a 365 account, you can log in with those credentials, a Gmail account, and then likewise, if you do not have one of those platforms, you can utilize an email address and password. So for today's training, I'm going to log in with a test account that we have established. And it would help if I use the correct information. All right, so you can see my alter persona here is Bill Thomas. Now, by clicking on the icon on the top right, you can actually change your password and go ahead and enable your two-factor authentication. So, old password, new password, and then confirm the new password. Likewise, you can click on two-factor and go ahead and set up your two-factor authentication by adding an authenticator app. You just click on that, and then you follow the instructions here to set up that account. So, for convenience, you can scan through either Google or Microsoft Authenticator. If you have a third-party platform that doesn't allow the scanning, unfortunately, you can go ahead and copy or type in those characters to claim that authentication method. Once you do so, it'll provide you a code. You just type that down here and then verify it. For security reasons, we also allow you to see how many sessions that you have running. If you click refresh token, it'll kill those sessions and you'll need to log back in. To get back to your main account, what you can do is click return to support.magoo.tech. So going through some of the options, the top menu here is going to mirror some of the options that you have down here, but at the base of your page is going to be all the options that you have currently, which include generating or starting a new request, view current and existing tickets, view and approve quotes, view company or user-specific assets. Let's stop here for a second and just briefly discuss this. Some of these options may not be available to you based on your level of access. A user may not need to have access to invoices or payment options. Likewise with assets, a user may only be able to see the assets that are assigned to them, whereas company administrators would have full access to see all of the assets that's available to their organization. We also have a remote session. We have documents, so uploaded documents from our technicians or engineers. Approval page, if there's tickets that require approval from you. You can view service agreements and documents and reports related to them. We have a service catalog, which we'll address later, as well as your current projects. Now, currently, we do have news attached down here, and by clicking on any of those news, you can actually read the article and approve or give us some feedback, either a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Now, thumbs down, may ask for additional reasons of why that article was not helpful. If you do complete that would help us gauge the benefits to so. Some of these news articles, like our prior training video on the support portal, will actually be in here as well, so then you can watch the training videos with that. We're going to go back here a second. As you can see, we have latest news for logged in users. In this case, it's 10-digit long code compliance and reporting that needs to be completed to ensure that your recipients of your text messages through your PBX, that they receive those messages. So you can see this has been liked. If we dislike it, we can provide a comment to support feedback for better articles in the future. Now, we currently don't have it released, but at some point we will be releasing knowledge base articles, and of course you can search for tickets or articles or assets from here. What are you looking for? So let's go into new request to begin with. So new request, you would want to fill out your summary, which would be just a short description of your issue. And the key thing next is the impact. What is the impact to your organization regarding this issue? Is it just one person, or is it company-wide? Now in this case, there's one asset that's attached to this individual. We could select that it's part of that asset. So let's say unable to save file in my documents. Now keep in mind the summary is actually going to help you review this in past tickets. So if you provide a good description and you have this recurring issue, you may be able to find old tickets and see how it was resolved in the past. So with this issue, it's related to this machine, and it's just me, and then I can give a brief detail of what I was doing whenever I experienced it, when it began, whether I've tried any troubleshooting on my own side, rebooting the machine, logging in with a different user, whatever that may be. And then if you have any screenshots, or if it's document related, you can attach the documents here and then submit. So once a ticket is submitted, you'll get a success message up here, as well as the summary that you created. We can see this is my user, when it was reported, what the current status is, our response times, and of course the device that it's attached to. If you'd like to update, you can add note to update. I now can't save to downloads. So you can update that ticket, add new attachments. And if this response is regarding the issue is resolved, let's say you rebooted the computer before a technician could contact you, you can just click issues resolved, and then you can save your update. Now, of course, that goes into our ticketing so our technicians can see that. And then you can also book an appointment. So let's say I want a phone call, and on the 24th, let's do Monday. How about Monday? You go to Monday, and then you can go ahead and book a session with a technician to help resolve this issue. This way, if you're busy, can't address it now, you can go ahead and book an appointment for a future time, even though this ticket is not assigned to anybody yet. If it is assigned, you'll specifically be looking at the availability for the technician that it's assigned to. And you can see once I added a note, the status changed right here. Let's go back to the main screen. And let's go view current and past tickets. You can see this is the ticket that we just started right here. If we click in it, we go back to the screen that we were just previously in the ticket. We'll go back and you can see that these are other tickets, but I'm only looking at open tickets. I can go down here and select closed tickets and then filter through those tickets. You can put terms in here to search for specific. And these tickets have the word test in it, which our company is Test Company. Let's take a look at finance tickets. And there we go. We've got a finance ticket as well. So it's a good feature to be able to dial into tickets in the past and see how those issues were resolved. Let's move on over to quotes. You can see that I have only one option, one quote. This is a quote that's been issued to me specifically. I can go ahead and take a look at that quote. I can look at the print version of the quote, if there's any scope of work that goes along with it. And I can actually review, accept, or reject the quote. So in this case, I'm going to say reject the quote, and then I can go ahead and put why I am rejecting the quote to submit it. If I clicked accept to accept the quote, I can go ahead and complete additional information, purchase order if that's relevant for my organization. And then, although signing with a mouse is fairly hard, I can then approve this quote with a signature and then hit submit. Assets, we can view the assets for the organization. Now this particular user is listed as administrator, so he'll have eyesight on all of the assets, but each asset's going to have different information into the system. And some of it may be relevant. So in this example, PBX1, it's a phone system. We're providing within this configuration or this asset, we're providing the login interface. There may be knowledge base articles and other items that are populated underneath here, but you can see that we've got the user interface to log in, and there's a separate administrator interface. Invoices. Within invoices, we are now providing a consolidated view for invoices. You can see whether they're paid or unpaid. You can click on the invoice to see what you were invoiced for. And then within the same portal, we can also turn around and pay the invoices. So I just downloaded that invoice. I could open that invoice and see what the invoice was for specifically. And then I can also go ahead and click and pay the invoice. Now, if I've used a card before, there would be a card that's in here that I could select if I wanted to use that card. Or I can go ahead and create a new payment. Now, we accept both credit and debit cards as well as transfers by bank account, making it simple for you to pay a one-time invoice. You can also add and save a payment method here, as well as pay all outstanding invoices by selecting either a new payment method or an existing payment method that we have on file. If you're a client that would like to do automatic reoccurring payments, how this process works is that you would open create a new payment method, and then you would open a ticket with finance, either within the portal or finance@magoo.tech, explaining you would like to have auto payment set up and then the last 4 digits of the payment method, and we can do that on the back end. Now, with a new system, what will happen is, let's say you get invoiced on the 2nd and invoice is due on the 17th. Then on the 17th, that automatic payment would be applied. So you would have 15 or 30, depending on your payment terms, days to review that invoice, raise any discrepancies before an automatic payment is made. Let's go back to the main page of the portal. Remote session, most of the machines for the plans that we have, we can hop in the machines whenever we're on the phone or with a ticket, but in rare circumstances, we need a temporary session. You can just click this and it opens that in a new screen. Your technician will provide you a code and then it'll download a one-time tool. Documents. Documents is a repository of any document that we have in your account that we've created and set view permissions for you. Now, documents are going to be generally company-wide. Whoever's got access to documents would have access to those documents. So generally this is based on permission when we set up the user accounts. Not all users are going to have access to documents. My approvals page, if there's pending approvals, and I don't have any approvals pending, you would see them here and then be able to make that approval. Service agreements, these are agreements that are tied to services. As you can see, we have 2 service agreements here. One is a draft and then one is a live agreement. We can hop into that agreement, see a little bit of information about it, what is covered, as well as documents that's associated with that agreement. Now keep in mind that Your agreements may have monthly reports that go in there, and this is a quick way of isolating those reports regarding those specific agreements. For example, if a client has an active security plan with us, those cyber awareness training as well as your email filtering statistics would be listed in documents here according to date. Service catalog. This is a new feature that we've been rolling out, and ultimately you'll have several different options within here. You'll be able to file specific service requests. What I mean by that is, let's say you're adding a new employee with your company. By filling a service request through here, we would be able to gather all of the individual information needed to onboard that new user. Or, in some cases, have a specific form for you to offboard a user. So, in this scenario, we'll use new user. You would select a new user as a service category, and you would go ahead and then complete the form that may have their personal cell phone number, their full name, what department they're going in, whether they need a phone number extension, what rights do they need on your network, etc., etc. And it's a single pane to be able to gather all the information for us to go ahead and initiate actions on that service request. Now, in this example, we'll be viewing potential services that Magoo offers that may be beneficial for our company. So I've drilled down to infrastructure as a service, and we're looking at websites. So we can then go and look at basic website hosting and then compare that service plan with others. And then if we wanted to enroll in this service, we could request a service. And then at that point, we have a new ticket field to build out the initial request for that service. So we can see that it's $11 a month, and we can see that it's available in approximately 24 hours. So I'm really excited to see where the service catalog is going to go in the future. But as of now, it's a good method to add additional services, and hopefully in the upcoming months have specific service requests as well. I'm also excited about this new feature called My Projects. Now, My Projects are really divided into two. Large-scale projects that are over 5 hours that maybe require additional planning. These projects would go in here. Now, in this particular case, I have a different project called Project LTE. Now, we implemented Project LTE, or long-term evolution, to assist us in building out services to attain a goal. In this particular project, we're working on, potentially a 12-month goal of bringing that site in line with recommendations. Let's go over the screen and then we'll discuss the project a little bit further. So we can see a status bar here across the top, but it's actually at the service desk. Now, similar to the other ticket screens, you can add notes and comments to this. Now, LTE projects are meant to be long-term, so they're not tied to SLAs or any obligations time-wise, because it could take months to years for us to attain this goal. Now, one of the purposes of having such a long time span on a project is, instead of having to spend all the money at once to attain a goal, what we can do is we can slowly attain that goal through device attrition, through replacement, to help maximize the benefit of planning for your organization. So let's go over to service details and see why we have this goal in place. So the justification for this is fiber backhaul and LAN segmentation through the use of managed layer 3 switches to decrease threat surface while maximizing. So it's a lot of tech gibberish, but really what this justification is saying is we're rebuilding the network to allow for future security benefits as well as reliability. Now, with the scope of this project, it could be several thousands of dollars, but we don't need to do that up front. we can plan appropriately and replace equipment as their lifespan decreases, as what we call attrition. As they age out, we can replace devices and attain this goal a little bit more cost effective. So instead of, let's say 3 switches is what this company has, instead of 3 switches at $2,000 a piece all at once, $6,000, we can wait for the older of those switches to then be phased out, and instead of replacing it with a similar switch, maybe $300 more, we can get that segment to where it needs to be to attain this overall goal. So you can see that there's benefits price-wise by getting proper equipment in as they age out, as opposed to just procuring all new at once, if that situation doesn't require that. And of course, the service details in this case, there is going to be an outage. It's about 60 minutes per outage to attain that goal. So as we begin and continue planning with that, we can see that we need to make sure that we coordinate with the client appropriately so we can keep downtime to a minimum. Now, since these are long-term evolutions, there can be start dates set to them or not. So as we have a goal in place and items are getting procured through time, it gives us a central point for us to plan accordingly as we prepare to attain this goal. And like any other ticket, you're going to see the ticket type as well as status, etc. Now, projects can be shorter term. So let's say you purchased a new business and then we're implementing that business into the same technology resources we have for yours, or a new department. It can be a new purchase where it needs programming, provisioning, transferring files. Projects really allow us to have a manila folder with several different work orders inside of it, and that's where you would see this mostly used for. Hopefully you found today's training video fairly beneficial in seeing the resources that are available within the support portal. Again, to access this portal, you can reach it by typing support.magoo.tech in your search bar or browser tab, as well as accessing this from our website, magoo.tech. In the top bar, there should be a support portal button to click, and you can then view all the resources based on permission for your account. If you do not have a password, you do not have a 365 account or a Gmail account, you can still access our portal by utilizing the email address we have on file with you. Instead of clicking on login or entering credentials, you'll simply select that you forgot your password. From there, you'll be taken to a password reset screen where you can enter your email address and then receive a password reset link in that email box. If you aren't aware of what your email is with us, feel free to give us a call. We can send you a new account email to set up your password and get you back into your portal. Until then, support@magoo.tech or 1-844-624-6672 will get you to our support center, and we can help you get back into your account. Thank you.